This Tuesday, Auntie dusts off some of her favourite treasures. Sumptuous costume dramas. An unforgettable, unrepeatable moment from the BBC vaults. Another glimpse of Auntie's bloomers. Tuesday at 8:30.
Hope you stick with BBC1 while we try and sort this out.
Some days at Chicago Hope are better than others.
You stay clear of me.
Mark me once, and you will never mark anybody.
That's the thing about bluntness. It intimidates the weak, engages the strong.
The sharp end of drama. Chicago Hope. Saturdays 9:15, BBC1.
An outsider comes with big plans, and the Highland locals are up in arms. A delicate job there now on BBC1 for Hamish.
Joanna Trollope's The Choir in 15 minutes on BBC1.
The news first on BBC1 with Michael Burke at 9:30 to 9.
Tanzania has appealed to the world for help in coping with thousands of Rwandan refugees. But some of those heading there in the latest exodus have decided to return to their camps in Burundi. The Shadow Chancellor has accused the government of hypocrisy by talking of cutting taxes in the week they were raising them. And 2 goals from Steve McManaman win the Coca-Cola Cup for Liverpool. Good evening. Tanzania said today it could no longer feed the 750,000 Rwandan refugees who fled there. Conditions in the camps are said to be deteriorating, and there's food only for another fortnight. Tanzania's foreign minister has appealed for urgent help from the outside world. Tanzania had closed its borders to the latest wave of Rwandan refugees from Burundi. Many of them are said to have turned back after promises of greater security from the Burundi government.
By dawn today, the thousands of Hutu refugees here had made their decision. They would stay in Burundi after all, despite their fears that Tutsi death squads will attack them. Reluctantly, they agreed to walk once more, this time to a new camp that's been set up for them, with promises that it will be properly protected by the Burundian army. Yet again, the refugees were on the road and carrying all they possess. Today we visited their new camp, which is in a forest not far from Burundi's border with Tanzania. Straight away, these people have set about turning trees into instant homes. They have become highly proficient at the business of being a refugee. They originally fled here from Rwanda last summer, only to uproot themselves again this week, panic-stricken that Burundi was about to become engulfed in the same ethnic violence between Hutus and Tutsis as their homeland. For the time being, at least, these people do seem prepared to stay here, and United Nations officials say the attempted exodus from Burundi is over. But the refugees here are still terrified of attack by Tutsi extremists, and it won't take much to make them set off on the road again. The aid agencies know this is not an ideal solution, and we witnessed scenes of chaos this afternoon when they started distributing water. But at least they will be able to get enough supplies to this new camp to reduce the danger of disease that's been hanging over the Rwandan Hutus all week. Indeed, several thousand of the refugees are now returning to the camps they abandoned only a few days ago. They clambered onto lorries laid on by the United Nations Refugee Agency. They're being taken away from the border and deeper into Burundi. Their panic has eased somewhat, but they know they're still vulnerable here to their old tribal enemy, the Tutsis, and they're certainly nervous about what they may be going back to. Ben Brown, BBC News, Burundi.
Here, the Shadow Chancellor, Gordon Brown, has condemned Conservative promises of tax cuts as the height of hypocrisy. He said they were being made in the week that indirect taxes were rising again. The Employment Secretary, Michael Portillo, has acknowledged that there was a political crisis. He said it was because the differences between the Conservative and Labour parties have become blurred.
John Major did his best yesterday to boost Tory morale ahead of the local elections that senior ministers acknowledge will be difficult. He spoke then of a new phase of Conservatism, though his Employment Secretary acknowledged today it's become increasingly hard to offer a distinctive Conservative message.
The other party, the main political party, the Labour Party, has abandoned its own principles and has come to accept most of what this government has done. The crisis that is faced by our party is not that they have lost faith in what we want to do or what we have done, but rather that the difference between the parties has become blurred.
Labour are highlighting the effect this week of reductions in mortgage interest relief and the married couples allowance, which they say makes Tory promises of tax reductions the height of hypocrisy.
Repeating tired old promises of tax cuts in the week you are raising taxes for the 20th time in 2 years does not add up to a new policy.
Scottish voters will give their verdict this Thursday. The government's opponents say they'll wipe them out.
I think we might well see the Conservative Party in Scotland all but disappear from the local government map of Scotland. And if that is what happens, then I think they will have very much brought it upon themselves.
So we're out campaigning for them.
With 3 days to go, the Nationalists are focusing on Labour as their main target.
Tony Blair is a Tory. He's a nice Tory, certainly. He's got a good haircut, a smile and a blow dry, but he's still a Tory. And I think the point I'm making is Scotland's had a bellyful of Tories over the last few years, and we don't want to substitute Tory.
The Scottish results will be watched anxiously here at Downing Street. A bad poll in Scotland would damage the Conservatives' already grim prospects in England and Wales, and the kind of heavy losses there that many analysts are predicting would revive speculation about John Major's very future at number 10. Gito Harry, BBC News, Downing Street.
Serb forces have launched an offensive against the Muslim enclave of Bihać in Bosnia. The UN says 13 shells landed in the designated safe area, 6 of them in Bihać town. But there are no reports of civilian injuries, and the UN says that NATO airstrikes are not likely.
North of Bihać, soldiers of the Bosnian Army's 5th Corps are fighting the Serbs almost hand-to-hand for control of the town of Velika Kladuša. Government soldiers are surrounded in the Bihać pocket not only by Bosnian Serbs, but by Croatian Serbs and rebel Muslims in loose alliance with them. Still, the Army's 5th Corps has been making gains in recent days, out of the trench lines now, and in open country. The Army's 5th Corps is fighting for its survival. Its commander, General Atif Dudakovic, is on the front lines almost daily. His men are outgunned by their many enemies, but they have some heavy weapons, a T-55 tank and 20mm cannon. Last December's ceasefire never meant much in Bihać anyway. Now it's crumbling rapidly in other parts of Bosnia, well ahead of the supposed expiration date of the end of this month. Next Wednesday, the Bosnian war will be 3 years old.
Do you see any end to this war?
Not yet. Not at all. I had some hopes 2-3 months ago that the international community, whatever it is,